was born and raised in the Chi-Town West Side. He's a graduate of Marshall High School. He attended Malcolm X College, where he played in the jazz band for 3 years. He has played in many clubs around the city of Chicago. And I want to welcome to StreetWise StreetScene for the first time, StreetWise vendor musician, my brother, Leonard Roberts. Welcome to the show, man.
Glad to be here, my brother.
How you feel?
Feel good, feel good.
Finally get you on the show, man. You know, I always like to show Chicago how open our vendor force is and how universal. You know, there's a lot of different backgrounds through our vendor force, and you're what I call the StreetWise vendor musician. Okay, how did you become a StreetWise vendor? How did you first get started with StreetWise?
Well, I first got started with StreetWise. I was watching a program, and they followed a guy that was down on his luck, out, and StreetWise got him employment. They helped him get his apartment. They fed him. They got him through some real hard times. Okay, later on down the line, I got into a predicament myself. And I thought about StreetWise, so I said, let me check them out. And that's how I became involved.
So you had to get on down and come down to orientation and find out what we were about.
Right.
And I remember you coming down to orientation, and you know, one of the things I am very proud about you is you actually took the ball and you ran with it. And we can tell the people who are serious and are just people who just need that opportunity, and you're one of those people who need the opportunity but is going to do something about it. What do you like most about being a StreetWise vendor?
Well, the thing I like most is like dealing with the different people. You meet all kind of people, and also it gives you a chance to bring back a sense of dignity.
Okay.
Because when you're homeless, you know, you don't even want to look people in the eye. You feel so embarrassed and shame. So that's the first thing StreetWise does. I know no place in Chicago where you can come in at 10 o'clock, go through orientation, take a test, and leave there with a job.
That's right.
Very few places I know, and they feed you.
And they feed you. That's a big tool, huh?
Yeah.
You know,
Very
that's a blessing. I mean, I want to give a big shout out to First Slice. They help that. They make that possible. In the past, we used to have to use food as a way of getting people to participate in meetings, but we feed 180 people on a daily basis, and it definitely helps. It definitely helps. The diversity of our vendor force, you know, it comes from all walks of life. Case point, you being a musician. Okay, I talked about in the introduction. You played in the jazz band for 3 years at Malcolm X College. How did you get into the start of playing music?
Well, basically, most of my education was from Chicago public schools. I played in the 7th and 8th grade in grammar school, played trumpet in high school, and then I went on to be in the jazz band at Malcolm X. So all my musical education is from Chicago public schools and neighborhood jazz musicians.
Okay.
You know, a lot of things you learn in the streets. It's not taught in books.
Why jazz, though?
Because when I was coming up, I thought Miles Davis was one of the richest, freest, intelligent black man on the planet.
My man.
I figured if I could get in jazz, maybe one day I could achieve some of that.
That speaks volumes. I mean, what were some of your favorite musicians, other than Miles, that gave you inspiration?
Well, the local treasures running around here in Chicago, people like Bill McFarlane, Hank Ford, it's a little young guy, Corey Wilkes, that's up and coming. Chicago is loaded with talent that's untapped.
You know, we talked about earlier Bill McFarlane.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a brother that I played with Buddy Miles. I mean, you played with him.
Yeah, that's my buddy.
That's my buddy, too.
Yeah.
Big shout out to you, Bill. You want to hear somebody blow a horn, that brother can definitely blow a horn. We're talking about in high school, I mean, music helped you. And I'm sure it's helped you not, you know, to stay away from some of the negativity of the streets. You know, we got a big problem today, you know, and it's youth violence in the streets. Do you feel that music can be an alternative to youth violence today?
Craig, you know, I never forget when I was going to high school, we had a big sign in the bedroom said, "The boy that blows a horn will never blow a safe." And I can look back and see a lot of times on my way to rehearsal or going to learn something where if I wasn't doing that, I'd be somewhere involved in gangs, negative activity. So I can actually say music has been my savior.
Okay. And well, what do you think needs to be done? What are the steps that we're going to need to take to get that done in the systems today?
I think we should bring back more after-school music programs, after-school dance, programs from like 4 in the afternoon to 7,
Okay.
where kids can express their talents and stay out of trouble, be in a constructive environment. And the money that we spend on jails and prisons could go a long way with after-school programs. That's how I feel.
Okay, now, were a lot of the associates that you grew up with, were they also musicians too?
Most of my friends are musicians.
Okay, and you guys still hang and kick it to this day.
You're right.
And that's what's happening. Now, I'm considered, a DJ turned musician, and I got tired of playing people's records, so I bought me a drum machine and started sinking into the records. So, the cats that I know, brothers like yourself from the 70s, who I consider really real musicians, they didn't like this type of style that we were doing. So my question really is digital versus real musicianship. Let's talk about that. And how do you feel about it?
Okay, I feel as far as that subject goes, I believe you could actually have the best of both worlds. You could bring the dynamic things from the digital side and marry them with a real acoustic musician and come up with a much better end product.
Okay.
That's how I feel.
Well, dig that. And I brought you on the show because I know you cold, and I wanted Chicago really to see the diversity that we have in our vendor force and some of the forgotten talent. And we got some vendors that come through to have the untapped talent. And me and Tate the Great, he's been on our show. He's one of the local artists. Well, not really local. He's really nationwide. But he's put out several albums, and he's a StreetWise vendor. And our goal is to put out a compilation album. And we definitely going to get you on those tracks, man.
And
we're going to put out a StreetWise compilation album. What about that?
I'd be honored to do that.
Okay. So where can our viewers find you? You working out on a daily basis and have regular customers that support your business. I know you want to give a shout out to them though.
Yeah, so you see me every day on Randolph in Michigan. That's my vendor spot. And then you can also contact StreetWise. I'm sure they can contact me at a moment's notice.
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out to the Rourke Moody's family. Moody was one of our most popular vendors in that area, and you picking up where he left off, man. So big shout outs to you, man, and most success. And looking forward to working with you. I'm glad you made it to the show. Chicago StreetWise vendor musician Leonard Roberts here on StreetWise StreetScene. We're gonna have him back. That's my guy right there. And if you'd like to find out more about Mr. Roberts, come down there on Randolph in Michigan. You can check him out. Remember, this main reason why we're here in Chicago every Friday at 6 o'clock to bring about the job opportunity we have at StreetWise. Chicago goes to work, so can you. Become a StreetWise vendor. We're going to help you get started. Your first magazines are going to be free on me. $30 worth of magazines free to get you started. We have orientation every Monday and Thursday at our facility, 4554 North Broadway. Maybe you could be like Leonard Roberts and be making money on a daily basis and really feel good. He talks about dignity and pride, and that's definitely what he brings to the table, and that can happen for you too.